Introduce our speaker today, Leonard Bagalwa. There's a whole bunch that I could say, but I'm going to keep this short and try not to embarrass him, and then he'll tell you a lot more about interesting things that he's been doing. Leonard is a former refugee from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He's married with 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy. Leonard obtained his master's degree in business administration and his undergraduate degree in public and community health education at Utah Valley University. He has over 8 years of experience working with refugees in Utah and has served on the boards of multiple nonprofit organizations. He lived in refugee camps in Malawi and Zimbabwe before coming to the United States. Leonard is the founder and former president of the UVU African Club, which has transformed the perception of Africa in the eyes of the local community and state of Utah. Leonard is the founder and executive director of the Utah Valley Refugees. He's committed to maximizing the positive impact he can make in the world to bless many individuals. He believes that his personal experiences and work can empower people and transform lives. We will now hear from Mr. Bagalwa's presentation entitled, "This is My Story." So, Leonard, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're free to take your mask off as long as you're. Thank you for reminding me.
All righty. Thank you. Yeah, you know that I have a thick accent, so with mask. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I hope everyone can understand me online. Wonderful. I can see the hands. That's good. And I will just start by saying I do not speak English. Sometimes I mumble. Sometimes I take time to think the word from multiple language to English. So be patient with me. And if you don't understand, or if I mix language, please stop me and ask me what I'm trying to say. Again, I'm grateful to be here with you today, speaking to you. And thank you again for having me. So as I was introduced, my name is Leonard Bagalwa, and I was born and raised in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So the story I'm going to tell you today is about my personal life, of what happened to me and how did I end to coming to the United States, and as well as how my life have been transformed in this country. So those are the things I will be talking about. My story sometimes can be sad. At the same time, can be a little bit a learning experience. So take the positive out of my story. Just see me as I am today. Don't think about those past years of me. Just see me as I am today. So we have a short, it's not really short, it's long. We're gonna try to cut it. It's about 17-minute video to kind of introduce my story. And I will go over those by clarifying some things, and then from there we can go from there. Is that's okay? All right, thank you. Let's do that. The story of the war, the story of poverty, and the story of Africa. I belong to all of those. My name is Leonard Bagalwa, and I am originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. When I was kidnapped, I was forced to join the military. I was brainwashed over there.
was very small a kid, and I couldn't shoot. I hate guns, and that's the most things I hate in my life. Normally people who were opposing in that refugee camp, they were killed. Instead of training me as a military man, they trained me as a spy. After 6 months, they decided to take us back home to go fight. I went to the other side of the water, to the dock. I heard a strong voice telling me, "Run, Leonard, run." I ended by going to the bush where I met pygmies. Pygmies told me how to get back home. It took me 4 days to go back home, working night and day. So when I went home, I knocked on the door, tell my mom to open for me. My mom opened, and when she saw me, she thought she saw a demon. She decided to close the door on me, and I keep knocking. She opened again 3 times, knocking, and I told her, "That's me, your son." When she opened, she told me I cannot stay there. I asked her why. She told me, "Your 2 brothers right now are in the morgue. They were shot yesterday, they were killed. So those rebels came here looking for you. And I don't want to see anything like that. You have to leave." I told my mom, "I'm not going anywhere. I work for 4 days to come home. I'm not going anywhere. Let me die here as well." And my mom went in her room, and she came up with her wrapper, and she said, "Let's go." And I don't know where we are going. So we entered the Catholic Church. When they saw me, they didn't ask me any questions. They are like, "We already know your story. You are all over the news." So a few minutes later on, they put me in the back of their car, and I found myself, we were in Uvira, in the eastern side of Congo. A priest took me to the Lake Tanganyika. We put us in the boat, and they shipped us to Tanzania, and that's how I escaped. These things happened in a matter of hours. It's something that wasn't planned ahead, but God inspired people of how to help me, and that's how I left Congo. When we went to Tanzania, they already organized somebody with a taxi to take us to the capital city. So we stayed in the hotel. After 2 days, the hotel manager came and said, "Your money is finished." So when we left, the priest gave me $100. We decided to go to the refugee camp in Malawi. So I'm talking about we here because I was with the other guy. We met in Uvira, Catholic priest were trying to smuggle out too, who had the same problem. He was a student, and his name was Christian. When we went to the border of Malawi, we didn't have passport. And going over there, we met 2 guys, and those guys, they beat us. They just jumped on us and started beating us and tear off all the clothes we had. And so a few minutes later, I told Christian, I feel that we're going to die. And if we're going to die, it's better to die close to the road so that somebody can see our body. If we die here, then nobody will bury us. So Christian said, I am not going with you because your decision is putting me in trouble. So I'm not going with you. I'm gonna stay here. I'm like, okay. So I left. I went back to the road. I felt a strong spirit kept telling me, Leonard, go get Christian. Go get Christian. So I went back. I told Christian, we need to go. We need to get out of here. And with my strong voice, Christian decided to follow me. When we went back to the road, like within a minute, we saw a white car just come the other side. So I had to raise my hand. I'm like, and the guy pulled over and started looking at us. Like, okay, so who are you? Are you human or animals? And I yelled, we are human. in Swahili. We are human. So what he said was, poor my brothers Tanzanian. That's what he said in Swahili. I didn't understand, I didn't know what he meant by that. And he asked me, like, how can I help? And I told him the best way to help is to let us know where we can go. And he's like, I know where the refugee camp is in Malawi. So he took us to Malawi refugee camp after 3 hours of driving. So he gave us some clothes and he gave me a Bible. And that's the time he told me he was a pastor. So he left me up over there in the refugee camp in Malawi. In the refugee camp, life wasn't easy. When people hear about refugee camp, they think it's just a house. They don't understand what it means. There's a difference between refugees in the first world countries and in the third world countries. Malawi is the poorest country in the world. One day, I was walking like 6 a.m. I just heard a voice calling me, Mirindi, not Leonard, Mirindi. And I'm like, who the heck knows me here? Who knows me by that name except my mother? I saw like a little guy came. He's like, Mirindi, you don't remember me? My name is Pascal. And I'm like, no, I don't remember. He's like, when we were a refugee from Rwanda, your mom came in the refugee camp and took us. And took us from the refugee camp and took you to your house. And I'm like, no, you guys died in 1996 when they came to destroy the refugee camp. It's like, no, we survived, we all alive. And my father wanna see you. And I'm like, how did your father know I'm here? He's like, my father is in charge of this refugee camp. So he took me to his home. I met his father. Yes, I didn't know the child, but I remember the father. And the father told me things. I can help you the way you want. I can get you a job, or I can get you out of this refugee camp. And I'm like, please get me out of this refugee camp. I was born a Christian. I was always praying to get help, and that's how he ended by helping me get out of the refugee camp. After I arrived here in the United States, the hard thing was the culture. So imagine from the third world country to the village to the first world country in a town, big city like Salt Lake City. I did not know English. I did not learn English in school. So in the Provo area, that's where I got a job at Provo Cemetery. And my shift was at midnight. And I asked my supervisor, why can't we do this any other time? He said, no, he was from Brazil. It was a cleaning company. And he said, no, that's the shift we have. If you want it, take it or not. So anyway, I take it because I didn't have choice. And I was paid $7 at the time. Sometimes when you kneel down, you're gonna take the dead flower, the dry flower out of the grave, I will feel like something is pulling my hair back, which even I don't even have hair. I'll feel like somebody's pulling it because I'm scared. I had to call this guy from Kenya, like every night, like, if you don't hear my voice, please call 911. So when I quit my job, I ended by being homeless. And I was homeless at Provo Library. So after a week, I heard a strong voice, Leonard, this is not what brought you to America. You can do better than this. You need to ask help. If you don't ask, no one will help you. You need to ask for help. On Saturday morning at 6 a.m., I woke up with my staff just walking around. Around 7-ish, I saw somebody pull the car in the back of the library. I saw like one couple come out of the car, and I followed, keep yelling, I need help, I need help. And the wife heard me yell, and then she yelled to her husband like, Doug, can't we help this young man? So I said, I am homeless. I'm a refugee from Congo, and I'm homeless. And he's like, oh yeah, we have met a lot of people from Congo. We served a mission in South Africa. We can help, but we are in a hurry right now. Here's my business card. I didn't have a phone to call them on Sunday. And on Monday, I went to the library and asked the phone. I called them, like, oh yeah, we were thinking about you. Can you come live with us? I'm like, yes. So I went to live with them in South Jordan. Over there, I learned how to milk cows, and because they were farmers, and I learned how to do a lot of things. And after a year, I moved again back to Orem. So one day they come to visit me. They brought me a check of $10,000 and a car. And I told them I don't want the money. He paid all my tuition for 5 years. I asked him, I'm now done with school. What can I do to pay you back? That's what I told him. And he's like, I know what you can pay me back. Go out over there and help other people. Who are those people I'm going to help? I don't know them. So I come home, I prayed, and I felt good to look a job into the refugee organization. And the first job I applied is the same job I'm still on today. I work with a small company called Health Access Project. We partner with the Department of Workforce Service to provide health care to refugees. We partner with Intermountain, partner with university or hospital. Doing case management for refugees over there, I found out that the same problem I had when I came in this country is still the same problem refugees are having. Refugees' needs are just small education, helping them, like teaching them how to do things on their own, not giving them free stuff, showing them how to take a bus, showing them how you do your doctor's appointment, how you do your job interview, how you keep your job, how do you talk to people, like English, ABC. Those are the things refugees need. So I decided, like, I'm gonna use my personal experience to help other people. I started putting all the legal paper together, and today we have an organization called Utah Valley Refugees. We have been able to help more than 100 families. And among those 100 families, 5 families already bought a home. Refugees are people who they need motivation. The best way to help people is to be their friend. Because when you are my friend, you're close to me. And when you're close to me, you're gonna know me, how to help me better. You might think money is what they need, but the reality, they need some other guidance. And that guidance you give them can change their lives. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible if you believe it and you can do it. Life is not hard here compared to the refugee camp. If you made it from the refugee camp, you can make it here. I have been seeing refugees who are doing good as long as they are oriented at first. I lost two brothers, and that it makes me sad every time. The other thing is home is home. Home is home. I miss it. Even if the situation we were living, even if we were poor, the condition I was living in, I still miss it. I feel blessed, and I feel successful, and I call myself the most successful refugees in this country. I came here like 15, 16 years ago. I own a home. Okay, I have a good job. I have a family. I have a degree. With all these things happened to me, I did nothing special. I'm not different than all those people who work hard and be successful. My name is Leonard Bagalwa, and this is my story.
Okay, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that short video. So as you can see in the video, I left in 1997. And this was because in 1994, if you know the story of what happened, the genocide in Rwanda, and we received refugees from Rwanda in 1994. And in 1995, things become more confusing in Congo. Especially we were on the border from Rwanda and Congo. That's where the Syria come from, Bukavu is. And so when things become confusing, people don't know what was happening. When you wake up, you see like bodies everywhere, people have been killed overnight and things, you don't know what's going on. And I remember waking up one night and because we had this, because the refugee camp, the Rwandan refugee camp was just above our home. And I remember waking up and went in the refugee camp and I saw what I saw I can never imagine in my life. This was the biggest refugee camp, but all I just saw was like people like this, like they burn everyone in that refugee camp with the helicopters from Rwanda and everything like that. So people died like ants. So that become confusing situation. And then in 1996, so things become the same way. And we just hearing, oh, the rebel took this village, the rebel took that village. We don't know what rebel was and things like that. So in 1997, so I was working and I was just kidnapped and put in the car and I was taken to an unknown place until I found myself in the military training camp in the island of Ituri, which is between Rwanda and Congo. So we over there we did training for 6 months. I will just be short to be fast. So we training, and I couldn't train as a military, but they trained me to be a spy. A spy meaning my job was to go back in town and identify people who opposes to the rebels, so that they can be killed or either be put in prison and arrested that way. So that was my job. So after 6 months, we went back, and when we went back to the other side of the road, I heard a strong voice telling me, very, very strong. I can hear someone is talking inside my head, and I don't know who's the person. And like strong voice telling me, Leonard, run, 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 run. And I'm like, where do I go? I don't know even the place I am. I have no idea where do I go. I said, run. And I just stood up and ran and yelled to everyone like, run. And I ran and I went in the bush. In the bush, I met pygmies. Pygmies, they are like indigenous people in the bush. And I told them my situation. They didn't want me to stay with them. They told me, stay here. This situation happens often. Often we see people running, and once they stay here, the rebel come looking for them and they kill us, and we don't want to do that anymore. So we need to go. And I'm like, where do I go? I told them where the village I come from. They're like, well, from where you are from and here is about 6 days walking day and night. And I'm like, how do I get there? I'm in the bush. It's like, well, you keep taking right. You keep going this way, take right, not taking left. And I'm like, right from which side? East, south, or west, or north? I don't know. Just like point me like, take right. And after 6 days, you will be home. I just remember praying and telling God, please help me. So I went based on the instruction, keep right, because they told me if you go left, you're gonna go back to the road. So I kind of thought that, okay, the road is just going straight. So you just have to keep right. So I kept right. And I ended by reaching the point where I knew. And I walked home. When I went home, my mother refused to open the door for me. That was the saddest moment. 4 days of walking. Saddest of my moment. My mother said, like, you cannot stay here. I'm like, I don't have anywhere to go. Not even giving me water, no food, nothing. I said, let's go. Just went somewhere. And when I think about this today, is a time I think of how our Heavenly Father works. It's something I had no idea. I didn't know. Sometimes things happen in our life and we keep questioning ourselves. Why these things are happening? But what I came to realize on my life, sometimes when we are born, we have a mission to do. And God helps us toward that mission. So I had no idea. My mother, without even thinking twice, she took me to the Catholic Church. My mother is a Protestant, the Pentecostal. The Pentecostal church is close to us compared to the Catholic Church. Why did she take me to the Catholic Church? Why not to the Pentecostal Church? I don't know why. She took me to the Catholic Church. The priest saw me like, we know your story. You can't stay here. You need to go. They took me in the car. I found myself in Uvira, is in the south, the northeast of where I was from, and after that they took us to the Lake Tanganyika. Lake Tanganyika, they put us in the boat. I found myself in Tanzania. So I found myself in Malawi, as you saw how the video was showing. So, but the story I will tell you about the journey between Malawi and Tanzania. We're talking here month of journey. Okay, we're talking about here traveling. We're not talking about days or hours here. So what happened at the border? I didn't have any passport, and I told Christian, because we were with Christian, like, hey, we need to get out here. No, actually, the bus driver left us over there, and we thought the bus driver is going to negotiate at the border. We can go because we don't have passport. But he left over there. We keep waiting, and nobody's coming. So I told Christian, let's get out of here. Let's go in the bush. And we went in the bush. And in the bush, we met 3 guys. Those guys was like to death. And Christian was super mad, very angry at me. Like, why your decision is making me in trouble like that? And I told Christian, like, I didn't know, I'm sorry. So a few minutes, we are up over there, naked, now no clothes, nothing, bleeding. I heard a voice telling me, Leonard, go back to the road. I went back to the road. And after a few seconds at the road, I felt a strong voice telling me, oh, get Christian, do not leave Christian. I went back and I told Christian, let's go with a strong voice. Christian stood up and followed me. A few minutes later on the road, we saw a car coming. I raised my hand and the driver opened the window and looked at us. Are you guys human or what? And I said, no, we are human. What's the problem? And I explained him the problem, what happened to us. And he was so mad at his own people from Tanzania. And he said, well, I can take you to the refugee camp. That's how we went in the refugee camp in Malawi. So in Malawi, life wasn't easy. When you hear about refugee camp, if you've never been to one, it's not a good place to be. And talking about even refugee camp in the third world country, if anyone knows about Malawi, it's the most poorest country in the world. So life wasn't easy over there. One day I'm walking, had already prepared another angel. And working in the morning, because I was running in the morning, work early in the morning, start running, and I met this guy, his name was Pascal, who's my mom helped his family when they were in the refugee camp. They were from Rwanda. And there's a story behind that. When my mom took those refugees in our house, we didn't have food to eat at the time. And this was a family of 5. We were 6 in the house. We didn't have enough food. And we were fighting every day, my mom, get these people out, get these people out. Why can you do this to us? Why can you do this to us? There is a time I remember my mom cooked one little cup of glass of rice, no beans on. We all sit down up over there, put one plate eating. I look at the rice, no one could get full of it. I went in the pantry, I brought a red chili, really hot pepper, really hot, was grounded. I pour all the powder on the rice become red. You eat, you run away. So I sit down and eat the rice. Next time I wake up, I was in the hospital. That's how bad it was. How bad it was. I was in the hospital because I see like why my mother can do this to help these people, while we ourselves, we cannot help ourselves. We were really mad. We were fighting with my mother every day. And my mother said this, son, the small things you have, if you share with your neighbor who don't have anything, God will multiply it and you will never be hungry anymore. She was telling us that. And as a child, I had no idea what my mother was talking about. My mother used to say, son, you remember, you'll never be with me forever. Anywhere you go, remember that people you meet, those are your brother, those are your sister, those are your everything. Respect them and help them if you can, and God will help you. I had no idea what my mom, like old-fashioned mama, what are you talking about? So in Malawi, I met this guy and he reminded me who he was, but I couldn't remember. But his father, I remembered his father. And the father was actually in charge of the refugee camp, was working for the United Nations at the time. And I thought in 1996, when they burned the refugee camp, I thought they died inside because they didn't come back home. So, but they survived and they went to Malawi, and the United Nations, they are the one who started the refugee camp in Malawi. And he had the power to get me out of that refugee camp. That's how he sent me to Zimbabwe refugee camp, where people things was better than Malawi. So in Zimbabwe, I stayed over there, and I came to the United States in 1994. In 2004. Sorry about that. In 2004, I came to the United States. So from 1997 to 2004, I was in the refugee camp and just running that way. So that's my story of being a refugee. And then when I came to the United States, I started struggling. Imagine yourself someone from a village, a third world country, to the first world country in the big city like Salt Lake City. It wasn't easy. And in 2004, the refugee agencies weren't organized as it is today. So it was kind of hard at the time. And so I had hard time. And if I tell you that the things we take here for granted are the things other people are struggling with, are the things other people need. The hardest things for me was what? Going in the bathroom. That was the hardest things for me. Back home, when you go to the bathroom, you have to walk miles with your light, your fire, your wood, your fire, and just showing around. Here, you open the door, you go up over there. That was against what I knew. That was against what I believed in. Felt like I was going in the toilet in my own house. It was hard for me. Putting the light on was hard. Stove, cooking on the stove, what the hardest things for me. And I could not get it. I spoke to someone, the guy, he was in the military, he was from Mali. And I asked him like, how can I found a place where I belong. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I need a small place. He told me to move to Person, 2004. So I went to Person. Over there, it wasn't good, the one I thought would be. So it wasn't small enough. I ended by coming back to Provo, where I got a job. I was working as a cleaner with this company called RB. It was a cleaning company. And the shift I had was at midnight. Go clean the Provo cemetery. The little house up over there, I have to take all the plastic and dead flowers and things out of the cemetery, midnight. So what came in my mind was, back home, if you are in the cemetery, at that time, you are a witch. You are trying to find demons or something, whatever it is. That's why every time I'm over there, that's what I was thinking about. And I was scary, 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 scary. I quit my job. I become homeless at Provo Library. Provo Library, I stayed up over there. And one night, just had a strong voice telling me, Leonard, if you don't ask for help, no one will help you. You need to ask. Who to ask that help? I don't know. The morning, just saw a car, just random car, just parked in the back of the library. I went close to them very cautiously. My broken English at the time. Say, I need help. I need help. The woman heard my voice and yelled at the husband, very old couple. Said, Doug, can we help this man? He stood up, gave me the business card. I called them on Monday, asked me if I can go live with them. I said, yes. They helped me and they made me who I am today. Okay. They paid my tuition in school. They did much everything that I needed to be on the level I am today. And this is who I am today. They give me one recommendation. The recommendation was to help other people there. Same mission my mother told us when we grow up, to help other people. And I keep saying, what can I do? First of all, I personally need help. How can I help other people? But because God, that was the purpose. That's why I didn't die. That's the reason why God didn't want me anything to happen to me in that way. I went to speak to the youth in one of the Springfield state. And one youth asked me a question. Like, normally we see people who have gone through your situation, they end by being drug dealers or doing some bad things. What helped you to not be in that situation? That's the question I never think about, never thought about before. This child opened my eyes to think more. And I said, I don't really know. All I knew what was good and what was bad. But at the same time, in all this time, I lived in the survival mode. I could not even think of anything bigger like that. So I don't know. That was my answer. But our Heavenly Father sometimes does that for purpose. For you to learn, sometimes you have to go through tough time. And sometimes we question questions. Does God still know me? Does God still understand me? And why me? Why not others? But for me, the why me, I think I understood it. The question I will ask, why didn't I die? That's why I'm grateful to be alive today. So when I was asked to go help other people, I didn't know how to help people. God guided me again, and I got a job where I can help churches. And I work with the company. I have 2 jobs right now. That's my second job. Where I work, I help refugees and immigrants and other low income to get access to medical. And when I was doing case management, specifically for refugees, by partnering with the Department of Workforce Service, I found out, I keep asking the question, how come someone who has been in the country for 5 years, still struggling, don't know how to make doctor's appointment themselves, still doing this and that and that? How come? Is it the system that is failing or what? I keep talking to other organizations and see like, what can we do to really do to fix this? They're like, oh, come up with something, like come up with something very simple and basic. And they all rejected it. Like, hey, it will be costly, it will cost a lot of money. This will not be successful. This is just basic, every individual should know. And I'm like, actually not. I personally, I didn't know how to switch the light when I came here. And we might think that, we might pretend that that's how everyone is. It's not true. And I will tell you, no long ago, I felt in my own responsibility with Utah Valley refugees here, where I have students volunteer come to me and telling them, your job is to fund housing for refugees. And this student, they are college students, they still live in the basement. They never look for housing. And I assumed that everyone at that age should know how to look for housing. It's not true. I learned in the hard way. It's not true. It's not true. It's something you need to learn. And this is what the problem we had. Like people are assuming that everyone should be able to do their appointment themselves. Everyone should be able to take the bus. Everyone should be able to do these things, more basic things for themselves. It's not really true. You will see someone who have Medicaid. Medicaid is insurance, it's free. Even if it's paid by our tax, but it's still free for me who's using it. But after a few years, you see this person still have medical bills on collections. How this happen? We need someone to follow up with these people. This is because they were given this paper. They don't know the meaning behind this paper. No education behind it. Some people, in another country, when they get sick, they go to a doctor, they pay cash. And that's it. They don't know that the paper, doctor will take it and that's the money. Education behind it. So those are the failure, basic things. So I decided to come up with this idea I call it MEET. So meeting. So motivate. Why motivate? Refugees have lost motivation. They live daily life. They don't know anything anymore. E for empowering or education. And then T to transform their life. So when someone has lost motivation, they need someone to inspire them. I personally was inspired. I wasn't living anymore by someone who told me, Leonard, you are still human. If you come live with us, we can still help you. Imagine meeting a stranger, someone. Normally, when you see a homeless, what do we think about? Drug dealer, he's a killer, we don't know what it is. This couple took me in their house without knowing me. God prepared them for me. That's how I am who I am today. So now the organization started helping refugees here in Utah County. Because I couldn't do it in Salt County because of all the challenges. Now I start seeing these small things. How am I doing on time?
Like you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I will leave that 5 minutes for questions. So I will quickly. So now helping people here in Utah County, I still see the same problem, the same things. And that's why when someone come to me and ask me, how can I help you? How can I help refugees? How can I? My answer to that is just be their friend. When you are their friend, you will know what exactly they need. You might think is money. You might think is what? But no. You must see what is bothering them is because they don't believe in themselves anymore. They need someone who can just say hello to them, smile at them, and that's like, oh, I still exist. That's the reason why. Not everyone is that way, but there is tons of people like that. Just a little simple smile, hello, can change their lives. As you know if they need a job, if you know if, then you can connect them with jobs you may know around you. You might know if they need home, you might connect them with home. From there you will know because you are close to them. But when you are far from them, you're gonna judge them and you don't even know who they are. That's the only simple answer. And that's my message to you today, is that God created us with a purpose. It's up to us on that way to work hard and pray and let him do his job and guide us. When you feel doing something, when you feel prompted, do it. You don't know who you're doing that to. The people who helped me, the husband just passed away, the wife still alive. Anytime you ask them, anytime I go to them and say, thank you again, they always say, we don't know what we did. You did everything yourself. But the reality, what they did is they lifted me up. They showed me that, Leonard, you are a human. They inspired me. They give me that. They empowered me by giving me just a place to sleep. And when I tell people that they give me everything I owe today, people say people think they give me a bunch of money. It's not true. Taking me out of that homelessness made me who I am today. We are neighbors. So, he's my neighbor. He knows my home. And he knows when I bought it, I called him first time. So that's who I am. And that's my message to you today. And I'm ready for any question you may have.
Yeah, we have a question.
Oh, yes.
What did you get your degree in school, and how do you apply this degree in your current work?
Well, good question. I got a degree. I got my bachelor's degree in public health at Utah Valley University. I graduated in 2011. And I applied that to work. So when I left work, and this is, you guys are graduate school for sure, you already know some have a career. So public health means go work for the government, go work for the non-profit organization or anything. For me, I apply that as a business. When I see a problem around a public health problem, I think of money, I think of solving that problem. And when you think of solving problem, money and strategies and all the things. And that's how I end by applying that to be a businessman. And now I went back last year. I did a 1-year program at UVU I got my MBA, Masters of Business Administration. And that's how I am today. I don't know if I answered that question right, but yeah.
Yeah, he said thank you.
Any other question?
No, just people saying that they loved your story, that is incredible, and
Wonderful.
very, very grateful.
Thank you so much.
Leonard, so you didn't speak English when you came to the US, is that true?
No.
I'm not an expert on refugee education and so on, but I know that's one big issue is literacy. Could you tell us a little bit about how you became literate in the US for English literacy? I mean?
Yes. So when I was homeless, when I moved with these people, so they wanted me to get education, but I didn't have high school diploma when I left home because I left, I was 17 and I didn't have a chance to go to school. And I told them about that, but they wanted me to have an education. So they put me in high school at age of 24 in South Jordan. And I couldn't do it because I'm the oldest person in the class and it wasn't fun for me. So I ended by applying to UVSC at the time. And then at UVSC, they told me you only need to just go take the placement test. So I went to take the placement test. So, but I took the placement test 9 times for 6 months and I couldn't pass it. So, but this couple, they had their grandkids coming to teach me at home. And I get material from school. They teach me until I reached the level where I could speak a little bit English. So I never take ESL class in school. I just went straight to take normal English classes. So yes, I learned English at home. I had all 24 hours. Those kids were coming and helping me.
It's intensive English.
Yes.
Immersion.
What
Fantastic.
happened to your mom, by the way?
My mother's still alive.
Wonderful.
Mother's still alive and my father's still alive. Hopefully my mother gonna come here this month. Hopefully. She has some medical condition and I feel like she can come here and take some treatment she need. So we're waiting to see if she's gonna get a visa to come. So yeah, and if she not, then I would have to officially apply to immigration for her to come here. Yeah. Any other question?
What an amazing story. Officially, we need to adjourn this meeting, but as you know, we have a little soup luncheon afterwards, and so we invite you to stay with us, and maybe people could continue to ask you questions.
Sure.
That would be great.
Sure,
So
sure.
Let's give Leonard a hand. That's it, right? We just go and eat now. Yeah, bring her over by the table, right? I think. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Amazing story.